What's going on today, YouTubers? We're going to be taking a look at a custom knife today. I just acquired this recently, and I did get this new from the maker. This is a Les Voorhies model 112. So real quick, let me go over the specs with it. It has a 3-inch blade of S30V. You can see it's a clip point with a little top swedge, and it is hollow ground. I will say this, this knife has one of the best edges I've ever seen. I mean, it is crazy sharp, and that's probably one of the best features of the knife. The handle is just under 4 inches, about 3.95 inches. It is G10. You can see it's white G10 with like a stone inlay. And that is like real stone. I don't know exactly what kind. It's called Recon stone. Never heard of it in my life, but there you go. So it is a liner lock, as you can see. It has gold anodized titanium liners, gold anodized titanium pocket clip, and a gold anodized titanium backspacer. So like I said, the handle is 3.95, the blade is 3, so it's just under 7 inches overall. And it is a flipper running on bearings. The flipping action is really snappy, really smooth. So real quick, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good, it's a really compact size, which I like. It weighs only 2.5 ounces, which is another winner in my book. I love lightweight knives. The flipping action is, like I said, it's really snappy. And it doesn't take much effort at all to really make the blade fly out. It's a pretty smooth flipper as well. It's not the smoothest, but fairly smooth. So the bad, there's really no jimping anywhere or any kind of traction. This handle is very smooth and it tapers. So if you're going to do a knife like this with a tapering handle, which is fine, you want to do something that's going to lock the person's hand in, and this has none of that. There's no finger choil, there's no jimping back here, it's not a huge deal. I mean, this is a very lightweight knife. You're not going to be using it for anything crazy, but it's something that you definitely want to think about as a maker. Is this going to be able to stay in the person's hand? So I'd say that's probably bad. The centering here, you can see, is no good. It doesn't rub or anything, but it's not dead center by any means. There's quite a bit of space between the blade. You can see the caged bearings in there. So there's quite a bit of space between the blade and the liners, which is dangerous, to say the least. That's where you run into problems with like blade play and stuff. And this knife definitely has that, which I'm going to get into as far as the ugly goes. The pocket clip I would put under the good. I think it looks nice. It's a good, I think it's a good compromise between the 3D milled titanium clip, which a lot of people love, and then a spring clip, which I think is functionally better, because it holds it in the pocket very well, but it's not a nightmare to get in there, like a lot of 3D milled clips are. Alright, so back to the ugly. See if you can hear that. The blade makes like a squeaking sound when it's closing, which is annoying more than anything. That's not really the ugly thing. The lock geometry is the ugly thing. The lock geometry is awful. It's one of the worst lock geometries I've ever seen, and this is a custom knife. The blade can move forward and back. I can't do it with one hand, but the blade can move forward and back a good bit, probably like a little bit over 1 millimeter in each direction. There's my dog taking a piss. Yeah, even he doesn't like it. Originally when I got it, there was like an insane amount of blade play, like it was like rattling around. So what I did was I just tightened down the pivot and put a little bit of Loctite on there, because it was just the pivot screw coming really loose. And I was hoping that would solve the issue of the forward and backwards blade play, but that's the lock geometry. It's just not done well. So for a knife that's like, he used very, very thin blade stock, and that's probably the primary reason that it's so lightweight. If you're gonna do that, if you're gonna make a knife like this with really thin blade stock, you have to be really careful with the blade, with the lock geometry. Because they tend to have those problems. They tend to have blade play. They tend to have, you know, issues with lockup, because there's not a whole lot of real estate for the lock to engage. And you can see here, I mean, that liner lock is almost fully on there, but there's like a gap. I don't know how this made it out of Les's shop without that being addressed. I'm not 100% sure how that got by him, but that's like a killer for me. I really like this knife design. I really like the way it looks. You know, I like that white and gold look to it. I like it overall. The flipping action's pretty good, like I said. The blade is super sharp. He did a really nice sharpening choil there, so it's all the way back. I mean, really a killer blade, but unfortunately it doesn't lock open very well, which is, that's like the kiss of death as far as a pocket knife goes. Yep, okay, that's pretty much it. I couldn't personally recommend this knife. I'm gonna contact either Les himself or the website I got it from, and try and return it, or see what they can do for me as far as fixing it. And I will update this video if that ever comes to fruition, if I ever, you know, get reimbursement or a fix on this knife. Alright guys, take it easy. I'll see you on the next one very shortly.